Good evening. My name is Ben Tucker. I want to start by thanking Chair Joseph and the City Council Committee on Education for giving me the opportunity to testify tonight. I'm here today on behalf of Young Advocates for Fair Education, or YAFFED for short. We're a nonprofit organization dedicated to ensuring that all students in Hasidic and Haredi yeshivas receive a sound basic education as mandated by the New York State Constitution. The special education system is a critical element of that. Ensuring that children receive the services they need and our educators are adequately resourced must be the central focus of any reforms to the education system. Currently, over 65,000 students are enrolled in Hasidic and Haredi yeshivas across New York State. While many yeshivas provide a strong education balancing secular and religious studies, thousands of students, particularly boys, are being left behind. These boys typically receive minimal instruction in core subjects such as English, math, and science before the age of 13, after which their education consists almost exclusively of Judaic studies. The consequences of educational neglect are severe. Nearly 43% of Hasidic Jews in New York City live below the poverty line, and an additional 16% live near the poverty line. Many graduates of these schools lack English fluency, which profoundly limits their future opportunities. Without basic literacy, numeracy, or a high school diploma, young men are unprepared for higher education, vocational training, or employment, and it perpetuates a cycle of poverty and economic instability. The problem will only grow more urgent with time. Studies show that by 2030, up to 1 in 8 school children citywide, and up to a third in Brooklyn, will be in Hasidic yeshivas. Without swift intervention, we risk a significant portion of our future workforce struggling with illiteracy and economic hardship. New York City spends over $1 billion annually on special education services for private schools, yet there are instances where these funds support schools that fail to teach core subjects. Such failures not only violate state law, but also deny children the education that they are entitled to receive. This is not an isolated issue. It is systemic, and without strong oversight, it will only grow worse. I'm here today to emphasize an essential point. Oversight is critical to ensure that special education funding is used effectively to serve the children who need it most. Only schools that provide adequate instruction in all required subjects should receive special education funding. Even as we demand accountability, we must be careful not to allow reforms to interfere with students' access to the services that they need. Special education is a lifeline for many children and for their families. And no changes to funding oversight should delay or restrict the provision of vital services to students with disabilities. This is not about targeting specific communities or undermining religious education. Many yeshivas and many Jewish day schools, including religious institutions, successfully provide a robust education that balances secular and religious instruction. However, no school should be exempt from the obligation to educate children in core subjects, particularly when receiving public funds that are intended to support our most vulnerable students. Every child in New York City has a right to an education that prepares them for a bright future. By strengthening oversight, enforcing accountability, and protecting access to critical services, we can ensure that this promise is fulfilled for all students. Thank you for your time.